The hall was enormous, filled with strange shapes and sounds. Towering alien figures moved with confidence, their eyes glowing in shades Lina had never seen before. The walls shimmered with lights that flickered like stars, reflecting off metallic floors. Every step Lina took felt heavier than it should, as if the room itself tried to push her down. She was small compared to everyone here, a mere human girl in a sea of alien beings who were stronger, faster, and far more experienced. Lina's heart beat rapidly, but her face stayed calm. She had learned long ago that showing fear was the first way to lose. Her small frame, hidden beneath a simple training robe, made her look weaker than she really was. Some of the aliens snickered as they noticed her. Whispered comments floated through the air. A human? Here? This is a joke. Lina ignored them, keeping her eyes on the far end of the hall where the instructor stood. At the center, a platform rose slightly above the floor. On it stood Varkon, the alien general known for crushing anyone who dared oppose him. His armor glinted under the hall's flickering lights, and his many eyes scanned the crowd with sharp precision. Varkon had heard of humans before, but never had one dared to appear in this academy. The general's reputation was one of cruelty and dominance. "Look at this one," Varkon said, his voice deep and cold. "A human girl. Pathetic. Do you think she has even an ounce of skill?" His eyes narrowed, and a cruel grin spread across his face. "Humans are weak. They are fragile. They belong at the bottom of the galaxy, and yet here she stands, as if she deserves respect." Some aliens laughed, a deep rumble that echoed through the hall. Others whispered doubts, curiosity mixing with disbelief. Lina felt their stares like tiny needles, but she did not flinch. She had prepared for this. Varkon moved closer, his massive shadow stretching over her small form. "Tell me, human," he said, his tone dripping with mockery. "What makes you think you belong here? Do you think your tiny body, your fragile mind, can survive what awaits?" Lina lifted her chin slightly, her voice steady. "I'm not here to prove myself to you." She did not shout. She simply stated it. The calmness in her tone was unexpected. Many aliens turned to look at her in surprise. Even Varkon's multiple eyes narrowed slightly. "You will prove it anyway," Varkon growled. With a wave of his clawed hand, the training floor opened up. The walls shifted, revealing a large arena filled with dangerous obstacles. There were glowing traps, mechanical beasts, and platforms that moved unpredictably. Step inside, human. Survive if you can. Fail, and you'll be remembered as the weakest creature in the galaxy. Lina's heart jumped, but her hands remained steady. She stepped toward the arena, feeling every eye upon her. She glanced at her bag, strapped to her side. Inside, a small, curved blade rested quietly, unseen by the aliens. She did not draw it yet. Patience was her ally. The arena was brutal. Mechanical arms swung, spitting fire at unexpected angles. Glowing energy traps shot from walls, each one capable of slicing to the strongest armor. Lina ducked and rolled, moving in ways the aliens did not expect. She did not rely on brute strength. She relied on speed, agility, and observation. Each movement was calculated, every reaction precise. The other aliens in the arena watched her with amusement at first. "Look at her struggle," one said. "She will not last a minute." They cheered when she barely dodged a trap, laughing at her perceived weakness. But Lina's eyes were sharp. She noticed the timing of each trap, the subtle pattern in the moving platforms, and the rhythm of the mechanical beasts. Slowly, the laughter of the aliens faded into quiet murmurs of surprise. She was small, yes, but she was learning faster than anyone expected. Varkon observed silently from above, his multiple eyes tracking her every move. He was angry, though he did not yet show it fully. He had fought many strong opponents. Yet this human girl was unusual. She moved differently, with patience and strategy, not raw power. His arrogance struggled against reality. Then, a sudden challenge arose. One of the mechanical beasts, a massive creature with metal claws and glowing eyes, lunged directly at Lina. She rolled beneath it, narrowly avoiding the strike, and quickly leapt onto a platform above. The aliens gasped. She had used their environment against them, turning danger into an advantage. Varkon's voice cut through the hall. Interesting, but not enough. Show me more human. Show me your true strength. He waved his claw again, summoning new obstacles. The arena became even more deadly. Platforms rose and fell unpredictably. Fire shot from walls at impossible angles. Yet Lina moved with calm precision. Each step, each dodge, each jump was a silent message. She would not be humiliated. Time passed, but Lina did not tire. The aliens began to whisper among themselves. How is she still standing? No human can do this. Maybe they underestimated her. Even Varkon's expression changed, a faint trace of curiosity breaking through his arrogance. Suddenly, one of the mechanical beasts lunged from behind. Lina had anticipated this. With a swift movement, she drew her blade. Not a large weapon, not even meant to kill, but sharp and precise. She slashed at the machine's control mechanism, disabling it in seconds. Sparks flew. The beast collapsed with a loud metallic crash. The hall went silent. The alien stared, shocked. A human had defeated a mechanical opponent designed to challenge the best of their kind. Varkon's eyes widened slightly. Lina sheathed her blade quickly, her calm demeanor unchanged. She was not showing off. She was not celebrating. She was simply surviving, proving herself without arrogance. Varkon stepped closer, his claws clenching. "This is unexpected," he said, his voice quieter now, almost thoughtful. "Perhaps humans are not entirely worthless." Lina did not respond. Words were useless. Actions were stronger. She had survived the first trial, but she knew this was only the beginning. The arena would get harder. Varkon would grow more dangerous. The other aliens would try to attack her together. She had to remain vigilant, smart, and ready. As she moved toward the exit of the arena, she felt a sudden surge of adrenaline. This was the moment she had trained for, not just to survive, but to show the universe that humans, though small and underestimated, could overcome anything with courage, intelligence, and precise action. And then at the far end of the arena, Varkon's shadow stretched long and threatening. His claws gleamed. He had not yet realized the full extent of Lina's skill. He would learn soon enough. Lina glanced at her small blade again. It rested quietly at her side, hidden, waiting. One day soon, it would do more than disable a machine. One day soon, it would strike with precision and change the course of her life. And perhaps the fate of the aliens who doubted her. For now, the first step was complete. She had survived the unexpected challenge. But the true test, the one that would define her, was still ahead. And in the eyes of every alien in that hall, a single thought began to spread. This human girl was not weak. Not at all. Lina glanced at her small blade again. It rested quietly at her side, hidden, waiting. One day soon, it would do more than disable a machine. One day soon, it would strike with precision and change the course of her life. And perhaps the fate of the aliens who doubted her. For now, the first step was complete. She had survived the unexpected challenge. But the true test, the one that would define her, was still ahead. And in the eyes of every alien in that hall, a single thought began to spread. This human girl was not weak. Not at all. The hall grew silent as Lina stepped out of the arena, her small blade tucked away at her side. The alien stared at her with a mix of shock and disbelief. Even Varkon, whose arrogance rarely faltered, now wore an expression he could barely hide. A flicker of curiosity tinged with unease. "You survived the first trial," he said, his voice low and measured. "But this is only the beginning." Lina said nothing. Words were meaningless here. Action spoke louder than any insult or challenge. She had already proved that she could survive mechanical traps and deadly obstacles. Now, the real test awaited, against living opponents and against beings far stronger than herself. The instructor signaled, and the arena transformed. Walls shifted again, opening to a massive combat zone. Unlike before, this arena had no mechanical beasts, only aliens, ready to test her skill in direct combat. Their weapons glinted, from long energy spears to bladed staffs. The creatures were tall, their bodies built for war, their strength far beyond any human's natural limits. "Move forward, human," Varkon commanded. "Show us your worth, or fall where you stand." Lina's heart pounded. She was small and underestimated, but she had trained for moments like this. Every movement in her life, every practice session, had led to now. She tightened her grip on her hidden blade, feeling its weight in the cold steel against her fingers. The first alien approached, a towering figure with 4 arms and a serrated spear. He lunged at Lina with lightning speed, expecting an easy victory. Lina rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. The spear scraped the ground, sending sparks flying. The alien growled in frustration. "You are faster than I thought," he hissed, "but you cannot keep dodging forever." Lina smiled faintly, not out of pride, but from the satisfaction of being underestimated. "I don't need to fight like you," she said softly, almost to herself. "I fight smarter." The alien lunged again, but Lina used her environment to her advantage. She kicked a loose metal panel, sending it spinning into his path. He tripped, falling hard, and Lina quickly moved behind him. She did not attack. Her goal was survival and observation, not mindless violence. She studied each opponent's patterns, their strengths, and their weaknesses. The other aliens, seeing their comrade fall, began to circle her. Some whispered doubts. Others shouted commands. "Take her down," one yelled. "She's just a human. She cannot fight all of us." But Lina remained calm. She darted between them, using their size against them. A high jump onto a raised platform allowed her to avoid a group attack. She kicked a nearby support beam, sending a cascade of debris to slow pursuers. Every movement was precise, every reaction deliberate. The aliens had brute strength. She had agility and intelligence. Varkon watched from above, his many eyes tracking her with intensity. Anger and disbelief mixed on his face. He had seen many strong fighters, but Lina's combination of strategy, patience, and calm calculation was something new. He could not predict her next move. Then one of the aliens, a huge brute with glowing red armor, charged directly at Lina, roaring. She sidestepped, but the brute caught her ankle with a sweeping kick. Lina stumbled, nearly falling. Her hidden blade slid from her grip slightly, a small reminder that she was still human. The brute laughed, confident that the small girl would fall now. But Lina's mind raced. She could not fight him head-on. She needed a plan. She lured him toward a narrow corridor lined with glowing panels. As he charged, she rolled to the side, pushing him into the wall. Sparks flew as his armor hit the panels, and he stumbled, dazed. Lina sprang onto a higher platform and disappeared from the sight. The arena's spectators were on edge. Some aliens were murmuring, "She's different." Others shouted in disbelief. Lina's movements were unpredictable, clever, and precise. The humans might have been weak, they thought, but this one was something else. Varkon's voice cut through the hall. "Interesting. You survived not by power, but by cunning. Very well, Lina. Let us see how you handle this next challenge." With a gesture, the arena shifted again. Platforms rose, some collapsing suddenly. Energy blades shot from the walls, forcing Lina to move faster and think quicker. The aliens, following her, struggled to adapt to the constantly changing environment. Lina darted between moving platforms, jumping over energy beams and rolling under sudden traps. She had memorized patterns from her past trials, but even then, she adapted quickly when new dangers appeared. Her small frame allowed her to squeeze through spaces others could not. She became almost untouchable, a shadow weaving through a deadly maze. Then, the final trial began. Varkon stepped down from his platform, walking toward her slowly, deliberately. His presence filled the arena. The other aliens backed away, leaving only him and Lina. The tension was palpable. "You have survived the chaos," Varkon said, his voice low and threatening. "But can you survive me?" Lina did not answer. She had learned long ago that words were meaningless against someone like him. She only observed, watching his stance, his multiple eyes tracking every movement. She knew that brute strength alone would not beat him. She needed to be faster, smarter, and precise. Varkon lunged first, a massive swipe of his clawed hand aimed at Lina's head. She ducked, rolled, and landed behind him. Using his size against him, she pushed off the platform wall, kicking him in the back. Varkon staggered slightly but regained balance quickly. The fight continued, each move a test of agility, strategy, and endurance. Lina dodged, blocked, and countered, using her environment to her advantage. Varkon struck with power, but Lina avoided most of his attacks, exploiting small openings in his stance. The audience gasped with every near hit and every clever move. Minutes passed, and both combatants were showing signs of fatigue. But Lina's determination never wavered. Her small body may have been weaker, but her mind was sharper, her reflexes quicker, and her strategy flawless. She could anticipate his moves before he even completed them, predicting his attacks based on subtle cues in his posture and eyes. Finally, Varkon paused, breathing heavily. "You are remarkable," he admitted, his voice a mix of frustration and respect. "No human should be able to survive like this." Lina's eyes glimmered with quiet triumph. She had proven it, not just to him, but to every alien in the hall. Humans were not weak. They could be underestimated, but they were far from powerless. Suddenly, Varkon lunged again, faster than before. Lina rolled to the side, reaching for her hidden blade. With a swift motion, she slashed at a nearby support beam, sending sparks and debris flying, momentarily blinding him. Varkon stumbled, surprised by her cleverness. The aliens watching gasped, whisper spread to the crowd. "She's not just a human, she's something else." No one expected this. "This girl, she's extraordinary." Lina didn't stop. She moved with precision, taking advantage of every opening, every moment of hesitation. Varkon's attacks grew slower, his arrogance waning as he realized she was not just surviving. She was dominating in her own way. Finally, she paused, her blade ready, eyes locked on him. Varkon stepped back, realizing that brute strength alone would not win here. Lina had proven herself through intelligence, strategy, and agility. For the first time, the hall was silent. Not in fear, but in awe. The challenge was over. For now, Lina had survived the test of strength, not by matching power, but by outthinking it. She had turned the arena into her advantage, showing that even the smallest human could rise above the mightiest aliens. Varkon's voice echoed through the hall, quiet but sharp. "Impressive human. But this is only the beginning." Lina sheathed her blade, her face calm, her eyes steady. She had survived, but she knew that the real challenge was still ahead. The aliens had seen her skill, her determination, and her cunning. They would not forget it, and neither would Varkon. For Lina, this was more than survival. It was proof. Proof that humans were not weak, proof that intelligence and strategy could beat brute strength, and proof that even in a world dominated by aliens, one determined human could change everything. The arena doors closed behind her, and the echoes of her triumph lingered in the hall. But Lina knew the path ahead would be even harder, and deep inside, she smiled quietly. The real battle, the one that would define her destiny, was still to come. The arena was quiet now, the echoes of Lina's previous victory still hanging in the air. The other aliens whispered among themselves, some with disbelief, others with cautious admiration. Humans were small and fragile, they had always thought. But Lina had proven that one human girl could survive where the strongest alien struggled. Varkon watched silently from above, his many eyes fixed on Lina. His pride burned like fire. He had underestimated her, and that mistake was not easily forgiven. His claws flexed as he considered his next move. He had been humiliated in a way he had never experienced before, and now he wanted to correct it. "You think this proves something human?" Varkon's voice was low, cold, and threatening. This was merely survival. True strength comes from power, from domination, not from clever tricks. Lina remained calm. She did not respond with words. She had learned long ago that words were meaningless against those who relied on force. She only waited, her eyes scanning the arena. Every platform, every wall, every obstacle was a potential tool. Every shadow, a possible ally. The humans had always survived by thinking ahead, and Lina was no different. Varkon stepped down into the arena, his massive shadow stretching across the floor. The other aliens backed away, giving him space. His armor glimmered in the flickering lights, and the air seemed to grow heavier with every step he took. Lina's heart pounded, but she forced herself to stay calm. Panic was her enemy. Focus was her weapon. The general raised his claw, signaling the start of their duel. The arena shifted again, platforms moving rapidly, walls retracting, and energy blades shooting from hidden slots. The challenge was no longer survival against machines or multiple foes. It was a one-on-one test against the most dangerous alien in the hall. Varkon lunged first. His speed was incredible, faster than Lina had anticipated. She ducked under his first strike, feeling the wind of his claws rush past her face. She rolled to the side, using a nearby platform to spring herself into the air, landing behind him. She did not attack yet. This was a dance of observation, a battle of wits as much as skill. "You are clever," Varkon said, his tone grudgingly admiring. "But cleverness alone will not save you." Lina's eyes flicked to his movements. Each step he took was precise, but predictable if one paid attention. She had noticed a slight hesitation in his left claw, a tiny pause before he struck. That small flaw was all she needed. Humans may be weaker, but they were masters of patience and timing. She waited, watching, letting him make the first move. Varkon swung again, faster this time, aiming to overwhelm her. Lina dodged, barely, sliding across the platform as sparks flew where his claws met metal. The audience gasped. Every alien in the arena was watching in stunned silence. No human had ever survived a direct duel with Varkon, and here was Lina, not just surviving, but moving with skill that rivaled his own. Then, an idea formed in Lina's mind. A small smile appeared on her lips. She would not fight him like the others, head-on, with brute force. That would be suicide. Instead, she would turn his strength against him. She had studied the arena carefully. She knew the patterns of platforms, the hidden energy traps, and the weak points in the walls. She led him toward a narrow section of the arena. The platforms here were smaller, closer together, and lined with sharp energy emitters. Varkon followed, his confidence showing in every stride. He believed his raw power would crush her any moment. As they reached the center, Lina leapt to a higher platform, taunting silently with a slight tilt of her head. Varkon's eyes narrowed. "Bold," he growled, "but foolish." He lunged, swinging his massive claws. Lina rolled to the side, landing perfectly on a small ledge. She touched a hidden switch on the wall with her blade. Instantly, the energy emitters along the platforms activated, sending bursts of searing light and sparks in unpredictable patterns. Varkon roared, swinging wildly to avoid the blasts. His movements were strong but clumsy in confined space. The energy beams hit nearby walls, sending sparks and debris flying. The other aliens gasped. No one had seen Varkon struggle like this. Lina, small and quiet, had created chaos without striking a single blow directly. "You are persistent," Varkon said, his voice strained. "But persistence alone will not save you." Lina stayed calm. Every trap, every blast, every platform shift was now part of her plan. She moved silently, like a shadow, avoiding danger while guiding Varkon into mistakes. His frustration grew with every near miss. He could overpower her, but he could not anticipate her cunning. Suddenly, Varkon made a critical error. He lunged at Lina, attempting a decisive strike, but misjudged the distance. Lina used his momentum against him, sidestepping and pushing him toward a platform edge. The energy emitters flared. Sparks and small blasts rained down. Varkon's foot slipped, his massive frame teetering. The audience held its breath. The alien general, feared by all, was now vulnerable. Lina's heart raced, but she remained focused. She did not rush. Patience had always been her greatest weapon. She waited for the perfect moment. Varkon regained his balance and lunged again, this time faster, more ferocious. Lina ducked, rolling under his strike, and slid to the ground. Her blade flashed in her hand. Not yet, she thought. Timing was everything. She could not strike too early, or he would recover. Too late, and she would be crushed. The hall seemed to hold its breath. Every alien watched, sensing that the turning point had arrived. Lina's eyes glimmered with determination. She had learned from every human ancestor, from every story of survival. The smallest, weakest beings could change the course of battle with patience and intelligence. Then the moment came. Varkon overextended himself in a powerful strike, leaving his side exposed. Lina's body moved with instinctive precision. She leapt, Blade aimed, striking not to kill immediately, but to disable her target. The armor seam along his left flank, the same flaw she had noticed earlier. The blade met its mark. Sparks flew, and Varkon staggered, howling in shock and pain. He had not expected a human to strike so precisely, so swiftly. The other aliens gasped. For the first time, they saw Varkon not as an unbeatable general, but as a being who could be challenged. "You human," Varkon growled, struggling to stay upright. "Impossible." Lina did not gloat. She stepped back, watching him carefully. Her eyes scanned the arena, every platform, every potential danger. She had turned the fight into a chess game, and she had forced him into a position where his strength could no longer dominate. The audience erupted into whispers and murmurs. She did it. A human actually did it. She is remarkable. Even the other aliens, who had mocked her moments ago, now looked at her with awe. Varkon's multiple eyes narrowed. He was furious, but also impressed. For the first time, he felt the sting of humility. This human girl, small and underestimated, had outsmarted him. She had survived his traps, his attacks, and his strength. And now, she had shown the courage and precision to strike him where it mattered most. "You are not like any human I have known," he said, voice low, almost a whisper of respect. "You are extraordinary." Lina's expression remained calm, almost serene. She had done more than survive. She had made her first true statement, that humans were not weak, that intelligence, strategy, and courage could surpass even the mightiest strength. The general's roar echoed through the hall, but it was no longer one of dominance. It was frustration, respect, and disbelief all at once. Lina sheathed her blade once more, stepping back and allowing him to regain his composure. She had proven herself, but she knew the battle was far from over. The aliens in the audience whispered again, their admiration growing. "She has changed everything. No one can underestimate humans again. She is not just a fighter, she is a strategist, a genius." Lina smiled faintly, though no one could see it clearly beneath the flickering lights. She had taken the first real step toward proving humanity's worth. Varkon's pride might recover, but a lesson had been learned. Humans could fight, think, and survive in ways no alien expected. The arena doors closed behind her, leaving Varkon and the watching aliens stunned. Lina's small figure disappeared into the shadows, but her presence lingered. She had turned the tide, not with brute strength, but with patience, intelligence, and courage. And deep inside, she knew the true test, the one that would define her, was still ahead. The turning point had arrived. Lina had changed everything, and now, the galaxy would have to reckon with a single, small human girl who refused to be underestimated. The arena was silent now. The echoes of Lina's previous victories reverberated through the metallic walls, and even the aliens who had been watching in awe could barely breathe. Varkon, the mighty alien general, stood before her, wounded but alive. Sparks clung to his armor from their earlier skirmish, and one of his massive claws twitched as if itching for revenge. Every movement he made radiated raw power, the kind that could crush any ordinary opponent. Lina's small frame seemed insignificant in comparison. Her blade rested quietly at her side, hidden but ready. Her eyes, sharp and steady, watched Varkon carefully. She knew that the battle was far from over. One wrong move, one misstep, and she could be finished. But for the first time, she sensed something more powerful than fear. Opportunity. "You have survived this far, human," Varkon said, his voice low and trembling with barely contained anger. "But you cannot win. You cannot defeat me." Lina's lips curved into a faint smile. Words were still useless here. Action would speak for her. She took a slow, measured step forward, forcing Varkon to move with her. She led him toward the center of the arena, the platform shifting and sliding beneath their feet. Energy traps flickered and sparked around them, glowing lines of light casting sharp shadows. The general lunged suddenly, claws slicing through the air. Lina ducked, rolling beneath his strike, feeling the rush of wind from his massive frame. Sparks erupted where his claws met metal platforms. The audience, both alien and human observers, gasped as Lina barely avoided each attack. She did not panic. Every dodge, every roll, every step was part of a carefully crafted plan. She had studied Varkon's movements in the previous rounds. His strikes were fast, precise, and strong, but predictable if one paid attention. Lina had memorized the smallest hesitations, the subtle pauses in his swing. Every flaw, no matter how slight, was an opening. Varkon lunged again, aiming to overwhelm her with sheer power. Lina sidestepped and kicked the platform support, sending it tumbling toward him. He staggered slightly, caught off guard. Lina pressed the advantage, leaping onto a raised platform and narrowly avoiding a second series of energy beams. Sparks flew, lighting up the arena like a miniature storm. "You are clever," Varkon growled, struggling to regain balance. Clever, but not enough. Lina's mind raced. She needed a decisive move, something that would end the confrontation once and for all. Her blade was not just a tool, it was a statement. Humans were underestimated for their size and strength, but intelligence, courage, and precision could overcome even the mightiest alien. She feigned a stumble, drawing Varkon closer. The general, arrogant and furious, did not hesitate. He lunged at her with all his might, claws aimed to crush her instantly. Lina rolled to the side, landing behind a small energy emitter. With a swift motion, she activated it with the tip of her blade, sending a blinding burst of light across the arena. Varkon roared, shielding his eyes. That was the opening Lina had been waiting for. She leapt from her hiding spot, blade raised high. With every ounce of precision she possessed, she struck at a seam in his armor, a weak point she had noticed during their previous encounters. Sparks flew as metal groaned under the pressure. The audience held its breath. Varkon staggered, his roar echoing through the hall. He had never experienced such a precise strike from any opponent. Humans were weak, yes, but this human was something else entirely. "You dare!" Varkon bellowed, trying to regain control. But Lina was already moving, agile and fluid, striking again and again at weak points, each movement calculated. She did not aim to kill immediately. She aimed to demonstrate that intelligence and skill could overcome brute force. The aliens in the arena whispered and murmured, stunned into silence. Many had never seen anything like this. "She's incredible," one muttered. "A human actually fighting like this." Varkon's attacks grew more desperate. He swung wildly, his claws slicing through the air, but Lina anticipated each strike. She rolled, jumped, and dodged with precision. Sparks and debris filled the arena as they collided, a storm of light and motion. Each move was a message. Humans could not be underestimated. Finally, Varkon made a critical mistake. In his fury, he overextended a powerful strike, leaving his flank exposed. Lina did not hesitate. She sprang forward with blinding speed, blade aimed directly at the weak seam. Her strike was clean, precise, and decisive. The arena went silent for a moment. Varkon's eyes widened in shock. For the first time, the general realized that his power could be challenged. He stumbled, his massive form faltering, and finally, with a loud crash, fell to the ground. Lina stepped back, breathing steadily. She had done it. She had survived, and she had won. The hall erupted, not with violence, but with awe. Aliens whispered among themselves, some fearful, others impressed. Even Varkon, though defeated, slowly rose, his multiple eyes meeting hers. There was no mockery in them now, only grudging respect. "You human," he said, his voice low and rough. "You have changed everything." Lina did not smile. She only nodded, calm and collected. She had proved more than her survival. She had proved that humans could overcome the impossible, that intelligence, strategy, and courage could triumph over raw strength, that even the smallest, underestimated beings could rise and change the course of events. The other aliens slowly approached, some bowing slightly, others standing in silent acknowledgement. They had learned a lesson that day. Humans were not weak. They were not fragile. And Lina was extraordinary. Varkon, still on the ground, watched her leave the arena. His pride was bruised, but his respect for her was undeniable. "This is only the beginning," he muttered to himself. "One human girl has shown us all that strength is not only in muscle, but in mind and courage." Lina walked through the arena, her blade sheathed, her steps calm and deliberate. She had faced the impossible and had emerged victorious. The whispers of the audience followed her like echoes, each one a reminder that she had changed perceptions, not just for herself, but for her entire species. She paused at the exit and glanced back one last time. The arena, once a place of ridicule and challenge, now felt different. It was a place of proof of transformation. Lina had not just survived, she had triumphed. And deep inside, she knew that this victory was only the start. The galaxy was vast, filled with beings who would doubt humans, who would mock them, who would see them as weak. But Lina had shown that the rules were changing. One human, armed with courage, intelligence, and precision, could make even the most powerful alien hesitate, even fear. The hall doors closed behind her, sealing the arena and its echoes. Lina walked into the future, ready for whatever challenges awaited. She had turned the tide, and the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. In that moment, Lina understood something profound. It was not size or strength that defined a being, but heart, mind, and will. The smallest hand could hold a mighty blade, the weakest body could withstand a storm, and the most underestimated human could change the fate of many. The legend of Lina, the human girl who dared to challenge the greatest alien general, had begun. And the universe, vast and full of dangers, would never forget her name.